Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to day 2 of Thrive Asia Pacific Digital Societies. Yesterday was a fantastic day. It was day 1 of the event, and today we hope to actually follow through with another great day of interesting discussions and presentations. My name is Johnny Kim, and I'm the community lead for GSMA's APAC 5G Forum, which some of you may be familiar with. Today's first session is on the Asia Pacific digital economy, and it will be a very interesting session as we are joined by speakers from Bridge Alliance, which is a leading alliance of MNOs working together globally, Mastercard, which is an international financial service provider, entity DOCOMO, which is an incumbent and innovative Japanese mobile operator. You may all remember the service IMO towards the end of 90s, early 2000. And of course, we have World Bank, which is an international financial institution which actually supports the economic development of countries around the globe. And each of these will be sharing their thoughts and insights on the topic of digital economy. Now, before we begin, I'd like to invite our own GSMA's Chief Financial Officer, Louise Easterbrook, to deliver the welcome address for day 2 of Thrive Asia Pacific Digital Societies. You have the screen, Louise.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Louise Easterbrook, and I'm the CFO of the GSMA. I'm thrilled to welcome you to day 2 of Thrive Asia Pacific. And we're starting off today with a priority topic, given the challenges and uncertainty that we're living with this year, the digital economy. Before COVID-19, mobile connectivity was already synonymous with everyday life in Asia Pacific, enabling innovation and large-scale digital services across every sector, including media, healthcare, and finance. But right now, the importance of connectivity in delivering a digital economy for this very diverse region has never been greater. And I'm delighted that so many of the region's leaders are here at Thrive Asia Pacific to discuss innovative partnerships, new business models, forward-looking policies, and investment. The ongoing investment in infrastructure by mobile operators is forecast to be $500 billion in the 5 years to 2025, and is critical to the digital future of this region, to sustainable enterprise industries and economies, and to the livelihoods and inclusion of all its citizens. I'd like to take this opportunity to recognise and congratulate the APAC markets that have overcome COVID-19, and those that continue to fight the pandemic with mobile technology and collaboration across industry and government. In this region with 2.8 billion mobile subscribers, the digital ecosystem has been at the forefront of all efforts, and digitisation is now moving further up the agenda for business and governments alike. At the GSMA, we have warmly welcomed increased engagement with the Pakistan Telecoms Authority, Kominfo in Indonesia, and the DOT and TRAI in India, resulting in faster progress on digitisation. And we also welcome closer collaboration with the Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation. And I'd like to take this opportunity to encourage all governments to engage with the mobile industry. To this end, the GSMA has just launched the 5th edition of our Advancing Digital Societies in Asia Pacific report. And this year's title is A Whole of Government Approach. Last year's report introduced the concept of digital platforms, cutting across traditional organisational structures, policies and technologies to provide seamless user experience, which will be increasingly important over the next decade. This year's whole of government approach means adopting a holistic, cross-sectoral and cross-organisational view for the formulation and implementation of digitisation policies and frameworks. This report presents the results of an extensive survey of government agencies, mobile operators, and other digital ecosystem players across the region to understand the role of this approach in advancing digital societies, especially in the implementation of Industry 4.0. The report also provides valuable on-the-ground evidence of the current status of whole-of-government implementations, insights into their challenges, and practical recommendations from both governments and industry. We see that 4G adoption is on the rise, as are the efforts of governments to boost online citizen engagement. In the 11 countries that are the focus of the report, more than 700 million people connected to the mobile internet for the first time in the last decade. And 4G networks now cover more than 95% of the population in 10 of those countries. Of course, recovery and resilience are top of mind for governments, as the pandemic has highlighted digital exclusion for citizens still unable to access digital services and weaknesses in some digital transformation frameworks. The research shows that many countries do have firm plans to deliver Industry 4.0, with some as soon as 2025. Intelligent connectivity, comprised of advanced networks, AI, and IoT, has an all-important role to play, and a whole-of-government approach will avoid duplication of efforts, it'll deliver cost savings, and ensure inclusivity of knowledge. I'm very happy to welcome our impressive leaders for this keynote. Geok Chwee of Bridge Alliance, Zaif Siddiqi of NTT DOCOMO, and Myung of the World Bank Group. Thank you and welcome everyone.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Geok Chwee, CEO of Bridge Alliance. 2020 has been an extraordinary year for all of us. We were hit by the pandemic and propelled into a new normal. Digital transformation becomes a necessity for survival, and the only choice that we have is to take the leap into the digital economy and thrive in the new way of work, live, and play. As telcos, we have always been the fabric of the digital economy, empowering enterprises and consumers with connectivities that they need, playing key roles in different parts of the value chain, from content distribution, payment, and more. Bridge Alliance is an alliance of 34 premium mobile operators, serving more than 900 million mobile subscribers across Asia, Middle East, and Africa. As we work with our member operators across different parts of the region, we often observe the uniqueness of Asia-Pacific region as one that is closely knitted and yet having different areas with different cultures and consumer habits. APAC is the fastest growing region in the world. Telcos in Asia-Pacific region will account for half of new subscribers globally by 2025. This region is also home to some of the most advanced 5G markets in the world, and it is forecasted that 5G will account for just under half of total mobile connections in Asia by 2025. To ensure sustainable and scalable growth in the digital economy, there are 3 C's that we need to bear in mind. The first C is about clarity. The clarity of problems to be solved. With clarity, we can unlock innovative means to deliver solutions to these problems. The second C, collaboration. Collaboration with key stakeholders across the value chain, leveraging on strength of individual entity, delivering outcomes where the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. The third C, community. How do we drive a digital economy that is inclusive and provides opportunity for everyone in our community? COVID-19 not only accelerated the disruptions we have seen earlier, but also resulted in new realities that we did not see coming. Seeking clarity on problems to be solved becomes even more critical in this new normal. We have seen many telcos in the fight against COVID-19. SKT, Bridge mobile operator in South Korea, is one such example. SKT used its self-developed AI-based service, Vision, to provide analytical insight of communication data between base stations and mobile phones to support public agencies in strengthening its measures against COVID-19. We see the same in China, where telcos such as China Telecom and China Unicom utilizes mobile location data to trace users' travel history in the last 14 days. They move on to develop a video analytic and IoT platform for epidemic prevention, monitoring traffic flows in critical areas. And to enable students to continue learning from home, they create an e-learning solution. Over in Hong Kong, we also see one of our member operator, CSL, launch their 5G AR retail commerce, enabling consumers to discover deals around them through an AR application, helping retailers as they face immense pressure from the lack of footfall during this COVID-19 period. Speaking of social distancing, in many regions in Asia-Pac, we have already seen operators leveraging on AR and VR technology for sports event, tourism, gaming, and more, so that something we used to enjoy physically together can now be done in the virtual world. The ability to have clarity of the problems to be solved enable telcos to unlock new values in the digital economy. As the saying goes, if you want to walk fast, walk alone. But if you want to walk far, walk together. This is where the second C, collaboration, becomes critical for all of us to ensure a sustainable growth of our region. In January 2020, Bridge Alliance formed a regional MEC task force with the objectives to develop a 5G MEC ecosystem, to explore different business models, and to work together to enable an interoperable MEC platform. I believe such open collaboration will be needed even more in the 5G era. Telcos have also moved beyond connectivity, leveraging on telco insights of consumers and the reach that we have. Operators have expanded their competency into areas like payment. An example is Globe Telecom in the Philippines. Globe has done excellent work in helping the economy and the unbanked with GCash. Transaction reached 700% year-on-year growth in May. Today, they continue to ride this wave, partnering with digital insurance and fintech company to bring increased values to consumers in the payment ecosystem. Innovation can be unlocked when telcos and our partners join hands to break down the barrier of borders. We see that in VIA, a regional wallet initiative by Singtel, connecting both telco and non-telco wallets across borders. Travelers will now be able to make payment using their home market wallet in another country with visibility of exchange rate in real time. As an industry, we have the power and responsibility to do good. Given the unprecedented scale of the global crisis, we must not only leverage on our ability to empower enterprises, but also bridge communication gaps for communities with specific challenges. Take, for example, one of Bridge member operator, AIS in Thailand, team up with leading partners from the government for the launch of the AIS Jam Academy. Jam Academy provides a platform for Thais to upskill and future-proof themselves to remain relevant in the digital economy. Similarly, in Singapore, in April 2020, Bridge Alliance, together with our technology partner LivePerson, responded to a call by HealthServe, a long-standing provider of medical services to the migrant worker community in Singapore, to build an interactive helpline powered by conversational AI. As migrant workers underwent a particularly uncertain and difficult period, the interactive helpline helped scale efforts in enabling them with access to information. We were excited to uncover a fresh and creative way of giving back, making use of the communication technologies our industry is already familiar with for a meaningful purpose. It is only through this our global village can come out stronger and more resilient from this crisis. Asia-Pacific is a closely knitted region. When we come together for regional initiative, our differences even out. Through the clarity of our vision, the tight collaboration with our ecosystem of partners, we ensure our community thrive in the digital economy. With this, I wish you a fruitful day of learning at GSMA Thrive APAC, the openness to work together to deliver positive outcomes in this period of uncertainty, and the power to bounce back in a post-COVID world. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning from Singapore. A warm greetings to everybody. And many thanks to GSMA for organizing such a terrific event in what we can only term challenging times. So in short, the future of money and the future of the economy is digital. How we shop and how we pay, these changes and shifts were already happening before the pandemic hit us. But now, with the catalyst of COVID-19, everything has accelerated into the digital world, and there's no turning back. Technology is affordable. Almost everybody has access to smart devices, high-speed data networks, and the internet just becomes ubiquitous. Want and expect on-demand products and services, whether that be food delivery, whether that be groceries, whether that be fitness courses, telemedicine, or entertainment. You know, we've all been binging on Netflix, certainly, in the last few months. And with this shift to on-demand, people expect their payments to be digital. They expect them to be contactless, and they expect them to be an experience that's safe, secure, and seamless. They want frictionless payments. They want invisible payments. To me, these shifts in the economy are encapsulated by three key themes. Firstly, transformation. Big changes in how platforms and how businesses function. Secondly, partnerships. Innovation is essentially driven by partnerships across both sectors. And thirdly, financial inclusion. It's absolutely vital that everybody has access to this digital economy. And we've seen how access to banking and financial inclusion has really empowered people in poorer countries, in developing countries, in India, Pakistan, etc., to just lead better and wealthier lives. So let us turn to these three themes. So firstly, transformation. Doesn't matter whether you're a telecoms company, whether you're a bank, a fintech, or indeed a small merchant in Indonesia or a consumer in India, the digital economy is just changing everything right across the value chain. Over the last 6 months, we've seen a massive shift towards, for example, digital banking. People who'd never used digital banking before, who'd traditionally gone into ATM withdrawals to use cash. We've seen massive changes. Bain Consultancy reckons that 95% of consumers who have moved to digital banking plan to use digital banking even after the pandemic has ended. Similarly, our own research shows that individuals have shifted to a digital-first mindset. And we've also seen that ATM withdrawals are at an all-time low. People are just using less cash. They're using other forms of payment. They're opting for tap and go or contactless payments. They're opting for e-wallets. And we've seen a massive shift to e-commerce. Hardly surprising because we're all stuck at home, or have been anyway for the last 6 months. But this massive shift to e-commerce payments has accelerated beyond what we would have expected even at the beginning of the pandemic. And of course, those of us who live in Asia, we're the keen adopters of technology. Of course, we've seen huge changes in how payments are conducted in China. And increasingly, we've seen the same in markets like Indonesia, in India, and in Vietnam. These countries are leapfrogging. They're going mobile first, or indeed, I would argue, they're going mobile only in many respects. The implications of these dramatic shifts: one, consumers want choice, and they also want highly personalized, frictionless experiences. All business, especially those SMEs, especially micro merchants, must embrace digital commerce and use technologies to manage their operations, capitalize on data, and stay close to their customers. We're also seeing regulators change policies and opening up the banking system. We saw this first in Europe, spread to other countries and other markets in APAC, and that's going to really change the game. We're also seeing a big growth in real-time payment infrastructure, ACH, and this is going to be a game changer for both B2B and B2C payments. We've seen it initially being adopted mainly for person-to-person payments, but B2B, there is massive opportunity here. And also we're going to see a massive change in digitizing the global supply chain, reducing friction, and improve efficiency of supply chains. What does this mean for Mastercard? What does this mean for me in my everyday life? Huge changes. Big changes in all aspects of digital commerce across what we're calling our multi-rail network, as we pivot from just being a card network to being a card and real-time payment. We've seen a massive rise in contactless payments and the use of e-wallets. We've seen a dramatic rise in person-to-person payments, and we've seen a dramatic rise too in account-to-account payments. So where are we investing? We're investing heavily in open banking. We're investing heavily in real-time payments, B2B, and cyber and intelligence. Because while we've seen this massive shift to e-commerce transactions, we've also seen a dramatic increase in fraud and attempts by bad actors to defraud individuals and businesses. So we need to invest more heavily in C&I, cyber and intelligence, to make sure that we can provide our customers and consumers with the security that they expect from Mastercard. Safety and security, after all, are top priorities for everybody. So we have multiple layers of protection. This includes tokenization, the way in which we and of course data analytics. So we're even able with the companies that we've acquired like New Data to look at the way that people are using their mobile devices, how they type, how they hold it. These kind of analytics allow us to introduce many more factors of authentication to make sure that you who are conducting the transaction are really you. Privacy is embedded into the design of all our products and services. And of course, privacy, whether you're English or American, is becoming increasingly important in an increasingly data-rich world. We're investing heavily in things like biometrics and artificial intelligence, again, to secure all transactions, but also to deliver data insights. And of course, that includes predictive analytics, helping businesses identify where they're vulnerable before bad actors get around to exploiting them. In this new digital economy, in this new ecosystem, interoperability and coordination of standards. Should be no surprise to you in the telecoms world that interoperability is an absolute must. But we're working very closely with EMVCo, the Payment Standard Board, to make sure that all schemes, all payment rails adopt the same basic standards. Secondly, we must protect people's privacy and their personal information. We must work with regulators to make e-commerce and commerce frictionless and secure. And we must build strong partnerships for an inclusive digital economy. So let's turn to partnerships. Look, the payments ecosystem is huge and is growing every single day. So everybody has a role to play in this. Nobody can do this alone. It's crucial to co-create and innovate. And being a true partner to everyone in the new ecosystem has been crucial for Mastercard and is becoming ever more so. Let's take some examples. So telecom companies. something very close to the heart of many of you who are listening, while you're probably also keeping an eye on an election that is happening somewhere in the world. Telecom companies play a key role distributing devices and, most importantly, providing digital access to the new economy. We work with telcos around the world. For example, we work with Airtel Group across 13 markets in Africa. We're working very closely with Reliance to enable GeoPay in India. And we work with Vodacom in payments in South Africa and Egypt, just to give you one example. We're empowering the digitization of SMEs, we're driving inclusion, and we're helping drive developments of digital identity. Of course, the other player is banks. We work closely with them for innovative solutions and also around cybersecurity, intelligence, data analysis. We've seen a massive growth in fintechs. We work very, very closely with the fintech community. It's not only disruption, but it's also innovation. Very enthusiastic supporters of startups, and we've made many acquisitions in these areas. People like New Data, Vise, Nets, Finicity, among others. And lastly, governments. Electronic payments are becoming a significant part of the digital agenda for many nations. We're working with regulators across Asia Pacific, including FAST in Singapore, PromptPay in Thailand, etc. This reduces the cost of printing and managing cash. It leads to better tax collection and disbursement of benefits. And on that point, in disbursement of benefits, let me turn to my third and final point around financial inclusion. COVID-19 faced by small businesses and millions, if not billions, of people who've been excluded. We have a long-standing commitment to financial inclusion, and that is even stronger now. 5 years ago, we said we'd bring 500 million people into the financial system. Goal accomplished. We did it. Now we've expanded that to a total of 1 billion people by 2025, and that includes 50 million small businesses. We're empowering and investing in SMEs. It's a growth engine, and the majority of businesses around the world are micro or SMEs. To keep these guys going in business is a huge priority. We've committed $250 million in support over the next 5 years for small businesses. To make this inclusion a reality, we need SMEs to digitize and innovate. We need large companies to lead on collaborations with us on research and scalable technologies. We need all global leaders, private and public, to prioritize inclusive growth, and we need it to happen right now. So happening. These digital shifts driven by COVID have created incredible opportunities, streamlining supply chains, reducing friction, and bringing more people in. Mastercard is a catalyst and a partner, but we can't do it alone. We must all come together. So let's work as partners. Let's build strong infrastructure, global connections, and the highest levels of speed, security, and accessibilities. So thank you, everyone. Thank you again, GSMA, and I wish you all a very enjoyable and productive event.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much, first of all, to the GSMA for hosting such a wonderful event. Digital economy, digital transformation, 5G, various technologies that come into play, extremely important in how we define our future. Today, I would like to talk about accelerating digital transformation in the 5G era, and also shed light on how NTT DOCOMO is playing its role in this scene. If I can also have the slides up, that would be great. Thank you very much. So here's, my name is Zaif Siddiqi. I'm the Executive Director and the Global Head of 5G IoT Enterprise Business at NTT DOCOMO. And here are some things that I would like to share with you. And I'm clicking, and I've got a digital challenge here. I'm unable to move the slides here. I don't know what's happening. Okay, what I should do is, I think what I should let you know is Today, in our world, we have the size of the digital transformation in the world and the benefit that the society can get is in trillions of dollars. We have the areas such as automotive, we have the logistics, the consumer industries. The amount that we can get, the benefit of the digital transformation benefit is so huge that it cannot be ignored. And in these areas, what we need to consider is to have the understanding of what the components of the digital economy will be. And if we put it very simply, I would say people, businesses, data, and devices, and processes. These are the 5 key elements that actually define the digital economy. And this has to be supported with the multitudes of communication channels that the mobile operators provide, the network platforms that we have, the various platforms that come into play, the services and the technologies. They support the people, business, data, devices, and processes. And in this light, in Japan, the Japanese government is leading the Society 5.0, which actually has been already adopted in many Asian countries, including Malaysia and other countries as well. So how did we start off? We started off by hunting, and that's where our basics go to. We hunted and we gathered. And then Society 2.0 defined the agriculture. And then after that, the Industrial Revolution comes in, and that's the 3.0. Then we move on into the information age with the .com and all the other technologies that come into place in 4.0. And here we go now into Society 5.0, where the cyber and the physical come together. And this is the key area where I would say mobile operators and the ecosystem partners have to play a key role in defining how we accelerate digital transformation in the 5G era. And the other key part about bringing the digital space and the physical space together is to ensure that we have the data, which is the big data, and it moves around with the AI engine. And the AI engine should be giving us feedback to the in various forms to the individual, to the consumers, and also to the enterprises and the industries. And this will be extremely critical. And that doesn't mean that the people factor will be removed from this. What people have to do is be very creative. And that's why it's also called the Imagination Society. We need to know how to bring the puzzle together with the various technologies that we have in place. And that is why 5G becomes extremely critical in bringing the devices and the AI technologies and the other technologies together, such as XR, IoT, and the cloud services. And DOCOMO is exactly doing this in our own efforts. We are now bringing the physical and the cyber closer together. We are working with the content provider. We also create content. We also have payment schemes. We use our D points, the DOCOMO points. For example, if you make purchases, we create a subscriber-based model where we have many membership. And these members are eligible for using the D points for example, even investing. So you use points to invest. And these are some of the new ways people are making a good use of the digital services that we provide. So how does NTT DOCOMO define digital transformation? We keep 5G at the core, and IoT, AI, XR, cloud services, these things actually are the wrap around of the 5G services. And when we achieve this, we are able to create radical improvement in the user experience and the user interfaces. We are able to create innovative services, increase productivity, and this leads to solving the social issues, and we come up with new value creation. And this has to be coupled together with the government policies and the market behavior. And that is why we have initiated a Plus D initiative and a co-creation initiative, whereby our technologies, our IP, coupled together with the technology of the partners, we bring them together and make the good mix so that we can serve the other customers and the end customers in a B2B2X model. And this is the model that we have been being very successful with, and we are ready to take this model to the Asia Pacific and beyond and create a cross-border co-creation. So this is how I would say that we accelerate digital transformation with the ecosystem partners in the 5G era. And one of the key areas that NTT DOCOMO puts a lot of effort is in the 5G Open Partner Program. This program, which was launched in 2018, has now more than over 3,500 companies and organizations. And what we do here is that we share information about 5G and the digital transformation. And we also we give access to the 5G labs for people to make use of the technology. And more importantly, we have the business camps. These business camps are extremely important in creating the business matching. And what we do here is that we are trying to have these technologies to be implemented with the business matching that we do and bring these new solutions to be implemented in Society 5.0. So this can be in the area of healthcare, it can be automotive, it can be manufacturing, and various areas. So this actually is the monetization engine for 5G and digital transformation as we move along with the digital economy. We have to spend time. It does not just pop up in overnight. So we spent more than 2 years and we came up with 22 commercial use cases for the 5G services and the digital transformation services that we are driving with our 5G masters, as we call them. We now have over 500 opportunities in the pipeline, and it's growing day by day. One other thing that I would say that is critical in accelerating digital transformation is to acknowledge the people that we have to. Oh, the slide comes up here. We've got the slide here. And I think on the DX Awards, if you could go to the DX Awards, it's pretty much down there. So now what I would like to share is we work on creating, acknowledging our partners that if we come up with great solution, they need to be incentivized. And that is the way how everything gets accelerated. And then we move on with keeping 5G at the core of the service, which is extremely important for the mobile operators. And with that, I conclude my conversation and would like to tell everybody that you're having a quick run through of the slides that I was supposed to work with. And this is the key point. Join the 5G Open Partner Program now, because this is what is going to drive us together, and it's the monetization engine for all of us to create a richer digital economy. Thank you very much. And that's the, I think, closing of the slides with, join again. And yes, one more slide, and that's NTT DOCOMO 5G. Thank you very much.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Myung, and I'm a Senior Digital Development Specialist at the World Bank. I'm seconded from the Korean government, Ministry of Science and ICT to the World Bank 2 years ago. And I used to work at the ministry as Director General of the Radio Policy Bureau. The 5G spectrum auction was my last mission at the ministry before joining the World Bank. I would like to start my keynote speech by thanking GSMA for inviting me to this important discussion. And I'm very honored to join the distinguished panels and the audience today. The topic of my keynote speech is, where are the investments needed? I can say that this question is exactly what the World Bank asked the global audience during its annual meeting, which took place 2 weeks ago. The survey question from the World Bank was, what do you think is most needed to close the digital divide? The choices for the answer included infrastructure investment, technological innovations, policies, and the regulations, digital skills. The winning answer was, as you might already knew, the infrastructure investment, accounting for 44% of all respondents. Today, I'm going to talk about the importance of the digital agenda, especially in the context of COVID-19. The COVID-19 pandemic has demonstrated the critical nature of the connectivity and the need for increased resilience in order to ensure that societies which are already connected continue to benefit even in the face of emergencies. Digital appears as a hidden hero during COVID-19, supporting public health, business continuity, remote schooling, and public service delivery. I would say the COVID-19 actually reinforced what we have believed so far. It reinforced our belief in the importance of digital technology, digital infrastructure, and our mission to bridge the digital divide between and within countries, and eventually the urgency of transforming to a digital economy. It clearly has been showing us that the digital technology is vital for all, including government, businesses, employers and employees, teachers, parents, and students in getting through this horrible pandemic. It clearly reminded us that being unconnected means way more than just not having internet connectivity. We came to know that digital infrastructure is a must-have, not a good-to-have for all to maintain our basic lives now and in the future. The COVID-19 response demonstrated the key role of digital to support national resilience through digital infrastructure and applications. So, what are the consequences of COVID-19 on the digital divide? Half of the world population is not connected to the broadband internet. There is a persistence of a gender digital divide and the uneven distribution of digital skills. These are legitimate fears of deeper post-COVID digital divide. The value of the digital infrastructure highlighted during the COVID-19 pandemic reminds us of the dire consequences of the lack of connectivity to these unconnected people. The lack of broadband connectivity will make the situation of the unconnected people even worse in these difficult times. And it will leave a long-lasting negative footprint in the future of these people. The pandemic tells us we need more urgent action to connect the unconnected. This matters not only for the developing countries, but also for the underserved areas and people in the developed countries. COVID-19 pandemic highlighted the importance of closing the digital divide and using digital technologies across sectors and policy areas. The digital development agenda has gained momentum with the strong demand from our clients, the World Bank clients, to close existing gaps, resulting in strong operational growth for support on connectivity solutions. I would like to take this opportunity to introduce the role of the World Bank to fill this digital infrastructure gap from crisis mitigation to inclusive digital transformation for sustainable recovery and improved resilience. We have indeed worked closely together with our clients and development partners over the past few months on a number of initiatives aiming at making sure that the best of digital connectivity is fully mobilized to cope with the crisis and to support the most vulnerable. While we are facing the legitimate fears of a deeper post-COVID digital divide, we firmly believe that this is the opportunity to advance the digital development agenda and eventually reduce the digital divide. This crisis has strengthened long-standing partnerships, refreshed the past joint efforts, and mobilized a broad coalition of actors in a record time, thanks to an amazing reaction both from public and private sector organizations. For instance, last April, along with the ITU, GSMA, and the World Economic Forum, we released a COVID-19 action plan to maximize the digital response to the crisis, including concrete short recommendations to promote network resilience, ensure access and affordability of digital services, leverage e-health, telemedicine, and big data to address the health crisis, and ensure that institutional frameworks are fit for purpose. Another example is the fast-track approach developed to accelerate the GIGA initiative on school connectivity. In a context where distance learning remains limited or even unavailable in many places. At the World Bank, we are fully supportive of this push, including through our involvement in the UN Broadband Commission's working group on school connectivity, but also in the broadband projects we are financing, as some of them include the school connectivity components that will rely on the mapping and the investment tools developed by the GIGA initiatives. When it comes to financing, as a financial development institution, we are committed to unlock financing to support our clients in developing their digital transformation strategies and their implementations. For instance, a couple of weeks ago, we agreed with the government of Georgia to mobilize $40 million to support a project that will help connect to 1,000 villages, including settlements in mountainous regions, to high quality and affordable broadband services. It also includes an agreement with the Eastern Caribbean countries for $94 million loan project to support the implementation of a coherent digital transformation strategy for the region. We also have financed $100 million to support Niger's ambitious program to use the digital infrastructure and services to modernize its economy and strengthen access to basic services in rural areas. We expect the demand to grow due to the renewed importance of the digital agenda, but also in light of the great progress achieved even before COVID-19. In the weeks to come, in addition to mobilizing financing when needed, we plan to enhance our analytical contribution on how to build back better, with more insight on how to leverage disruptive technologies in the context of emerging markets, how to fully transition the digital infrastructure policymaking toolkit to the future of the data infrastructure and data regulation, and how to develop targeted policies to maximize digital inclusion. I'll stop here. Thank you, and looking forward to the discussion.
Right, fantastic. Thank you very much for your keynote speeches, gentlemen. Now we'll jump over to our panel discussion. Where, unfortunately, we were planning for 20 minutes, but we only have 10 minutes, so we'll try to make it as effective and efficient as possible. Now, I'll just do a brief introduction of the keynote speakers and, of course, the panelists. They are the same people. So we actually have Ben Gilbey, who's the Senior Vice President of Digital Consumer Mastercard Consumer Group within Mastercard Asia Pacific, as panelist number one. We have Myung Roo, Senior Digital Development Specialist from the World Bank Group. And of course, we have Zaif Siddiqi, who's an Executive Director from Global, who's the head of Global 5G and IT enterprise business at NTT DOCOMO. Now, just we begin, we do actually have a question from the audience, and I'd like to read this out to you, Ben. Ben, the question is, as due to the pandemic, most of transactions are going online, how Mastercard is going to adopt the strategy to go online with faster and easier transactions with less transactional charges, which will be one step towards digital currency and economy. I think this was written pretty quickly, I think. So, Ben, would you like to answer that briefly, please?
No problem. So firstly, obviously, when we're looking at faster and easier transactions, we're aggressively driving the adoption of contactless, both on the consumer side. So, nearly every card that is issued these days is a contactless card. We're working with all the digital wallet players to ensure that they can deliver contactless payments. And on the other side, we're working with merchants to make sure that contactless terminals are widely available and adopted. In fact, we're rolling out pilots and commercializing what we call SoftPOS, which is available on Android phones right now, which as a contactless terminal. So that means like small micro merchants now have the ability to conduct contactless transactions. So that's how we're making them faster. That's how we're making them easier with less transaction charges. We've always had a policy of looking particularly at low value payments around things like transit, around things like vending, etc. So we're extending that. We're looking at what we can do with quick service restaurants so that small ticket pricing, small charges, we're making those transactions cheaper for micro merchants to small merchants, but even big merchants like McDonald's. That's not exactly a micro merchant.
Right, I see. Great. Thank you. Thanks. That's great. Thanks, Ben. There seems to be a common theme here, and I'd like to say that there's an old phrase, I think, money makes the world go round, okay?
Certainly does.
Yeah, it certainly does for everyone, right? And there seems to be a common theme with all your keynote speeches, whereby, you guys are, addressing both the supply and demand side of the value chain, of the economy and of the digital environment. And looks like, for example, whether you're Mastercard, whether you're DOCOMO, whether you're World Bank, you're actually approaching, the key theme of our event is about the whole of government approach. But it looks like, again, there's a similar concept approach here, whole of industry approach, whole of economy approach, okay, leading to more partnerships, more collaboration. And this is these are the common themes that are coming out from all your speeches. Technology, commercial strategy, technology working together, looking at it from supply and demand sides and so on. But what I'd like to actually ask you, despite the limited time we have, is to look at, for example, in the journey to realizing an effective and sustainable digital economy, there are many existing and potential obstacles and that need to be identified and overcome. Ben, as a financial service provider, can I ask your quick views on that, please?
Yeah, and I'll be very quick because I realize we have limited time. But I think one of the great opportunities that we all need to collaborate on, and that's across industries, it's across private companies, it's across governments, is actually on B2B payments. You think about how consumer payments have been accelerated in the last decade, it's been transformational. Whereas you look at how B2B payments have transformed, it's marginal transformation. Letters of credit are still being faxed around the world. So there's an incredible opportunity for us to transform B2B payments, and the size of B2B payments dwarfs the size of consumer payments. So I think that's one of the challenges that we as industry leaders, as governments, and as non-governmental organizations, we need to come together to make businesses' lives easier, whether they're large corporations selling Boeing jets to merchants in India running a corner store selling packets of shampoo. That is the mission that we should be on together, and that is where we should be collaborating.
Great, thank you. Zaif, your views, please.
Sure, Johnny. I would say there are a couple of things we could mention, but I think in the interest of time, keep it very short. I would say it's the digital transformation within the operators themselves. So I think we really need to, relook and revisit our OSS, BSS, and create the digitization within ourselves. And that will allow us to be good examples. And then we can move forward with that, work with the ecosystem partners. And in the part of the ecosystem partners, in the collaboration and the partnerships, we need to work, I think, closely with hyperscalers, OTT players, and make sure that we have access to the data of not just the consumers, but the enterprise, the industries, and also, coming together with the government and securing that data as well. That is also extremely important. I would also add that skilled talent is very important, and that's why I highlighted about the 5G masters. So we need to have people of the right skill set working together with us in driving the digital economy forward. Those are some key points from my side.
Fantastic, Zaif. You've actually hit the nail on the head, and that actually brings me to a question for Myung from the World Bank. Now, the digital economy, okay, it really does not discriminate whether you're a fast-growing economy or whether you are an already developed economy, okay? And APAC itself is a very diverse area. So, Myung, I mean, from the World Bank perspective, now investment into, for example, digital skills, manpower, HR, to further accelerate the digitization of the economy, whether you're from a fast-growing economy or not. I mean, could you actually please share your perspectives on that, please?
Actually, we have we are facing really difficult challenges. Connecting unconnected people around the world. Even in the developed countries, even in Arlington, the county area near to the capital of the United States, they experienced, huge number of students are not available for their internet, for their remote schooling. This is the reality. And, we see a global diversity in the level of, connectivity. And then we also clearly see the uneven distribution of digital skills. So I think as on the investment bank, the development bank, we clearly see the challenges and addressing these, issues globally and regionally or within countries. So to fill the gap, clearly we need to create condition for the private sector to continue to invest, to be investing in extending their the infrastructure, and also we have to pay attention to to develop the digital skills in the most the vulnerables. For example, the gender woman is a really in the most the vulnerable the groups of people in the world. So we have a lot of initiatives to help women to develop their digital skills. I think in this journey we really need a global partnership, governments, industry, and academic institutions. All NGOs need to work together to make this happen and to fill the gap.
Great, thank you. I think that's really important. Yeah, you're right. And then I think this is where the technology, commercial strategy, and policy approaches all need to be harmonized, be working together to really realize this digital economy dream, the objective, and so on. Now, apologies, we have run out of time, and we've also got some additional questions. We will definitely answer these as afterwards, put it together into a document and share it with that. But gentlemen, thank you very much for your participation. Sorry for rushing you through this panel session. Once again, enjoy the event, and I look forward to engaging with you again in the near future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.